Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on, that's a good question, December 14th, 2025, at approximately 8 p.m. PST. Now, I made it my life's journey to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my own day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies that I make virtually every decision I make by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and literally have worked for thousands of others over the years with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Okay, now before we get into things, I do want to tip my hat to Frank, to Storm. Storm is our primary moderator and usually sits in the background to ensure that the technology works properly, and rest assured with me that can be a challenge. He is also the one that keeps problem children outside of the room. Okay, understand if you find yourself outside the room, this is because I asked my moderators if we have a problem child and they come in here, pop them out. We do not desire problem children. This has got to be a safe place for virtually everybody. Even bullies bullies and people that come in with, as we found the other day, inappropriate call names. Okay, even they are welcome back in if they correct their behavior. Missing, screw it up too often, and somewhere along the line, I have no idea when, because that's not my department anymore, you'll find yourself outside permanently. Okay, now, with that in mind, before I get into tonight's topic, and tonight's topic is literally the importance of gifting. I figure we are coming down to the end before Christmas hits of 2025. So I figured, what the heck? So we have in the room with the gold is Cosmic Joe. How you doing, Cosmic? Glad you can make it. Hopefully your day has been going well. I know mine's been hectic as all get out. And then we have Mike Jones. You are in with the silver. Nice to see you again there, Mike. And we slide down and we have Eternity Eternal is in with the bronze. Nice to see you, Eternity. Hopefully the things are gearing up properly for you for Christmas. And for that matter, for next year. The reality of it is when we look at the importance of gifting, now understand, we are approaching Christmas, but gifting applies year round. Whether we are talking about gifting for Christmas, for birthdays, for graduations, whatever. Okay. And the reason for it is because it opens the door. And before I go further here, we have just got LA Moon has entered the room. She is our primary moderator in the chat room. Okay, and like with Storm, she's there to help ensure problem children are not problem children for long. Okay, and definitely a special hats off to LA tonight. I was honestly not expecting her to be able to make it, but I am very glad she did. So when we're looking at gifting, the thing with gifting is this. Okay, we'll start with the Christmas issue. If you are Christian, okay, as in you believe in God, you believe in Christ, and rest assured that is not a qualifier for gifting, but it does pertain to the very first Christmas if you happen to be Christian. Okay, and that is the wise men, and we're not going into the whole history of it, okay, but they brought gifts on the first day. Okay, in their case, and I've told you guys this before, I myself am Christian in as much as I believe in God, I believe in Christ. Okay, but they brought gifts that first day. What a gift tells you, and this is why we do it, is it tells the person receiving the gift that they mean something special, if to nobody else, the person that gives them the gift. Okay, and yes, we can look at it the way some people do and go, well, he's giving me a gift and there's no strings attached. What does he want? Who cares? It's a gift. Okay. Uh-oh, what have we got here? Oh, LA. I keep telling you, flu, it's a wonderful thing to have come and go. I prefer with it being gone. Okay, but I do appreciate the added effort of showing up. Now, this, the thing is, when you gift other people, do it without expectation. Okay, now we take a look at it. It's kind of comical. We look at gifting when you're dealing with Christmas, when you're dealing with your friends, family, children, parents, whatever. But bearing in mind the positive perspectives or positive perceptions also deals with the UFO and the cryptid communities. And people are constantly talking about Sasquatch. Now, Sasquatch, everybody knows. Bigfoot, or virtually everybody knows. You know them by Sasquatch and the gifting stones and the whole 9 yards. I know them as Weclonicon. Okay, but the important thing is still the same. You give without expectation. Now, we're going to get into a little bit more of it as we go along, but the reason for gifting, it's not the size of the gift you give. It's not how intricate it is, how much money it costs. It's the fact that you did it. Okay, I've had years that were that I was so tight on finances that literally, as a matter of fact, one of the best gifts, I'm going to go sideways there, one of the best gifts I ever received. I was really tight on finances, and my older brother bought a whole grocery load. Okay, now he had a lot of money to work with. He bought a pantry full of groceries, and then he turns around, individually wrapped each one, and then wrapped them all and put them all in the box and then wrapped the whole box. I'll tell you, that is the best gift, bar none, that I've received ever in my entire life. Not the one that had the biggest impact on my life in one sense, but when you look at gifting, when you look at gifting, I will get to that question, Cosmic. When you look at gifting, the idea is to go, okay, you mean something to me, something more than just, oh, you're somebody on the street. Although we're going to cover that too. Okay. Now I have to make a quick little note here. Better do it this way. Now, I'm going to go sideways. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I will give you an answer. Cosmic is asking me, what type of creature is the Mothman? I am going to have to look into it. I don't know right offhand, but I've got notes all over the place. And that said, when we come back in the new year, okay, I don't know whether it'll be the Friday or I don't know if it'll be the Saturday or the Sunday. No, Friday or Saturday, because I don't know the day yet. But within the first half of January, I will give you a detailed answer to that question. I just don't have the answer on the top of my head right now. But when we look at gifting, the idea is very simple. Okay, now understand, gifts are not what make Christmas. They are not what make a birthday. Don't get me wrong, I like receiving gifts. Okay, I like receiving money. I like when other people pay my bills. This is always nice. But that's not what the holidays are for. Okay, or what the celebrations are for. But gifting does have a tendency of helping somebody feel a little more special, at least for that one day. Okay, so this year for me is extremely tight, okay, for a lot of reasons. However, I've already laid out 2026, okay, as far as what we're doing from there. So we are going to take that into consideration and make absolutely certain it works. Okay, the biggest thing we have to realize is when you're dealing with gifting, what I look at is this: if it's a gift, don't ask. Okay, and here's why. Yes, the tradition seems to be talk to people, find out what they desire for Christmas, and get them something for Christmas. I'm not asking next year. I'm watching as the year goes by, and then come Christmas, I will deal with it. Okay, but I will tell you, the biggest mistake that most of us make is going, oh, I gotta get something big and flashy. No, you don't. I will tell you. Hey, whoa, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And whoa, you are in with the honorable mention. Now, the important thing we have to remember regarding the gifting side of things, okay, is when you give something, so when you give somebody something that you can relate to, what you're doing is saying, this is the impact you've had on my life. Okay, not the dollar value, but the fact that they remembered. Okay, this is the reality behind it. And one of the important factors that we got to remember here is gifting is not, how much is under your tree isn't what matters at Christmas. It may be to some of you. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, with the way that society has treated it, it may well be to most of you. To me, it really isn't. Okay, tomorrow's the 15th. So I've already committed, we're putting our tree up tomorrow. But in order for us to put our tree up, I got to block off a hallway. Might give you an idea how overcrowded I am right now. But when you look at gifting, ask yourself this: what message are you trying to tell the person you're giving? Or are you just doing, here's something for you, and leave it at that? And that's okay too. Like I said, it's not so much the gift you give, it's the fact that they are receiving something that just tells them, oh, I mean something to this person, that they went out of their way and picked me up something. Now, whatever you do, do not financially hamstring yourself. Clearly, there are gifts that most of us cannot replicate. Okay, for instance, and this goes back into the old age, into the dinosaur age, I'm sure of it, but at least from some of your standpoints, things like Lego. Okay, Lego, electronics, the odds are you're not making them. Okay, if you are, more power to you. Okay, but one of the big things that we look at is whenever you're looking at gifting, where are we here? Will goes, family went with the artificial tree this year, out of the box, 5-minute install. Yeah, and Cosmic goes, I have a small tree and a big star on my Christmas tree. I've got it out of the box. I'm in an apartment, so we're not allowed a live tree. We're just not permitted one. Too much of it in the way of fire hazard. So it'll take us moments to set it up, but then we gotta decorate it. And much like you, Cosmic, we have a star going on the top of it. But here's the kicker: the star that goes on the top of our tree was made by my eldest son when he was a kid, and we are still using it to this day. And so a lot of the decorations that we use are either antique, they come from our childhoods. Mine and my wife actually doesn't have any from her childhood, I don't think, but myself and the kids do. So most of the decorations will be that way. Okay, so we'll be setting it up tomorrow. and then it will come down on on New Year's Eve. So we go into the new year with it boxed up and gone. You know, the nice part about it, when we look at gifting, okay, now, like I said, the gifts are not the big issue. But you gotta, I look at it this way. Having all kinds of brightly colored packages under the tree is a wonderful feeling when you get up first thing in the morning. Okay. And yes, for those of you that are thinking in terms of, well, I can't afford much, and I still desire to buy something, no problem. I'm telling you, buy a box buy a box of something the person doesn't usually get unless it's a treat. Okay. From my standpoint, things like, like Pop Tarts, or you'll love this one, Twinkies. Right. Very inexpensive. You can buy a lot of them for a lot of different people. Okay. Now, like I said, where it comes to the importance of it, it is showing somebody you're thinking of them. What do we got here? LA goes, I have an 18-inch tree that is plastic white, is a plastic white one, and changes color. Long story behind it, but it's mine and I love it. And I'll tell you, LA, that is the bottom line important thing. The fact that you like it, not what anybody else thinks. Although it's a good idea to have everybody in the house either at least tolerate it or like it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Wu goes, we always left ours for like a weekend of New Year. I did leave mine up for that week because my ex-wife, her birthday was right in that first week, so she asked for it to be left up, so we did. But once her and I split, we still, by the way, and this is something very important, we still exchange gifts. And, I still, as a matter of fact, I've got to pick one up. I buy the turkey. She cooks it. Because rest assured, you don't want me cooking the turkey. And then we all gather together for Christmas dinner. But sharing time with each other is such an important part of gifting. Whether it is Christmas or birthday or celebration, whatever. Ellie goes, I am completely unconcerned by who else likes it, but nobody has dared to deny it. Yeah, no doubt. And knowing you, LA, that does not surprise me. But my real big wish for people is that this year everybody thoroughly enjoys the Christmas holiday. And I'll tell you, whether you believe in Christmas or not, take a look around. Okay? Take a look around and notice one thing. People talk about the Christmas spirit not being here, or, oh, I don't believe in Santa Claus. Whether you do or not, most people do. Okay, and I could go into all kinds of examples of it. But suffice it to say, take a look at the people around you. Whether they believe in Christmas or not, or in giving gifts. Almost everybody seems to try to be a little nicer to each other right around the holiday season. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, people still seem to try to be a little nicer. Okay? And let me ask you this. If you wake up in the morning and there's something under the tree for you, does it not feel nice? Okay? Do you not enjoy that? If you do, this just gives you another reason to gift. Okay, remember that thing I mentioned about karmic law? Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay, in other words, if you enjoy receiving gifts, you can bet your bottom dollar so to other people. Okay, now I do put limits on what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. Cosmic goes, I bought a Christmas stocking for my cat last year. Oh, that is unfortunate. She passed away October 15th. So I'm very sad. I don't have anybody to celebrate with, but I'm sure grateful for what I have. I'll tell you, Cosmic, just a thought. But take a picture of your cat's stocking, okay? And post it someplace. Whether you put it up under your tree or not, remember, your cat spirit is undoubtedly, at least from my experience, is still there. Okay? And you can bet your bottom dollar she will still be hanging around. Yeah, LA goes, I was asked to get a nativity set. I found one quite by accident at the thrift store. It's beautiful. White porcelain with gold trim. That's fantastic there, LA. I've got a one piece nativity scene that I leave, in all fairness, I leave it up on the shelf all year. But I bring it down to a center point where like it sits underneath the edge of the tree once we get the tree up. And of course, my current wife, I had a multi-piece nativity set that we are putting out. Okay. Now the thing is, when we look at gifting, and this is why I brought it up, Cosmic, because even for the people that have passed away, let's remember they don't always just automatically go to the other side. The average turnaround time, if an individual is coming back human, is 70 years. Okay, if they're going human to human. Okay, but there are so many stories, so many tales of people encountering loved ones that have passed on that gather around the Christmas tree. Again, you don't have to believe in Christmas. Putting a tree up in your house, whether it's artificial or not, is irrelevant. Okay, it's the symbology of it. It's kind of like, if you want to get real brutal about it, there are all sorts of things that you could put up to make them more realistic. Not necessarily a good idea. Oh, Will Ryder's asking Keith, what do you say to those who say Jesus was non-human intelligent life? Well, I can tell you wholeheartedly that they can believe what they will. I will not agree with them by any functional stretch. Okay, I will tell you he was abnormal as people went. Absolutely, he was. But was he non-human? Well, let's see. His mom and his dad were both. And there's a long story behind that. I'm not going to go into it on the air because there's a real catch to that. But his mother and father were both fully human. Okay, he simply had a much wider understanding of the human condition and of the meanings behind it. But I will not tell somebody, oh, you're absolutely wrong. I will absolutely tell them, we are going to have to agree to disagree. Okay, because I cannot prove it one way or the other, neither can they. But if anybody does desire to have a more in-depth explanation as to why I stand on what I do, absolutely drop me a private line. I will give you an answer. And it's so much easier if we actually set up a communication where I can talk to you face to face and explain it to you. Way too complicated to put it on paper. Joe Monk, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The reality of it is, it's way easier for me to explain it in words than ever trying to type it out. Okay, the nice part about it is when we look at gifting, okay, understand that gifting is not just a question of material stuff. Maybe all you do is walk by somebody and say, good morning. And you're just simply gifting them with a wish for a good morning. Okay, maybe that's all you're doing. that is still a gift that has the tendency that maybe all that person needs to hear so that they can actually feel a little better for even a moment. And I can tell you from practical experience, the number of times I've done that to people and then later found out that they were on the edge of just calling it a day and turned around and thanked me for it later, sometimes years later. Okay. But that gift of well wishes may be all you can afford. It doesn't cost a whole lot to say to somebody, good morning, have a nice day. Where are we here? Joe goes, I gifted a watermelon to the Bigfoot of my property. It disappeared. And again, we were just talking about this, Joe, just a little bit before you got here. Okay, that we talk about gifting in the way, and because it's the Christmas season, we're looking at Christmas. But as I told people, anybody working that understands the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, there's an abominable snowman, Yeti. All of them are just names for the same species. Okay, but I know them as Weclonicon, and they too exchange gifts. Okay, and those of you that gift to them know this. But when we look at gifting, it is a way that is mutually acceptable for everybody, because I've yet to find anybody that goes, oh, I don't like receiving this. Many, many, many people, way too many, will say, what does the person want? They're giving me a gift. What do they want? If they desire something from you, it's not called a gift. Okay, what they're giving you isn't a gift, it's a buy-off. Okay. No, that would be just wrong. I just looked at that and the first thing that came to my mind, bear in mind, guys, I was an alcoholic. So, of course, the moment I looked at what Joe gifted the Sasquatch, my first thought was, so did you empty a bottle of vodka into it before you gave it to them? This is not a good thing to give a Sasquatch, by the way. The watermelon, absolutely. Laced with vodka, not a good idea. But when you take the time to give somebody something, whether it is for a birthday, for Christmas, for a graduation, for a wedding gift, all of these fall under the same category. Now, yes, it is very easy to go the route of, I'm going to gift that person with money. Tomorrow, and we'll get to this later, but tomorrow we're going to be looking at decommercializing Christmas, meaning taking a look at the money side of it and going, not doing it. Oh, I see. And Joe goes, I'm not going to get the Sasquatch drunk. That's my job. Doesn't it, though? And he goes, Rampaging Bigfoot. Sounds like a weird Christmas special. Yeah, no doubt. Whoop. Yeah. Joe goes, my neighbor put a pet chicken. Well, my neighbor has a pet chicken which is huge. A red-tailed hawk attacked it, but the chicken decided to defend itself well and survived. Well, I am so glad it survived. We used to have chickens growing up, and again, you can gift your pets. Okay, they understand the idea of treats just as well as everybody else does. Okay, and what you got to remember is a gift simply helps people feel a little better. Okay, I had a plant for the longest time. Okay, that every time I had a chance, I gifted him with a cup of coffee. And I'll tell you, was he ever happy? Unfortunately, when I had my stroke a number of years ago, he ended up passing away. Well, Joe, yes, there was. Joe goes, wasn't there a Sasquatch in one of the old Rankin Bass cartoons? Christmas special? Was it Yeti? Was it Bigfoot? It was the Abominable Snowman. And that one. Well, number one, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had it, I believe. But also the year without a Santa Claus, I think that was the name, with the Isle of Misfit Toys. And yeah, Bigfoot or Bumble was who you're referring to. Yeah. LA goes, when I was a kid, our stockings had stockings. Maybe a tube of lip gloss. Ours usually had toothpaste and a brand new toothbrush, maybe a comb, but they were seldom overloaded. Okay. The idea, and this is something to consider. When I was growing up, one of the things that we really enjoyed as kids doing, when you went to wrap a gift, make it complicated, so that the unwrapping became an adventure unto itself. Okay, now this year I am gearing up because 2025 is going to be very short for me. Okay, it's going to be a very tiny Christmas because, quite frankly, I just don't have anything to work with. Okay, but 2026, I am starting to work on 2026 starting January 2nd. January 1st, I'm figuring it's going to be a long day. Yeah, Woo Rider goes, give hygiene products in stocking stuffers. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Joe's going, my favorite book when I was a kid was Where the Wild Things Are. I love that book personally. When we talk about Rankin Bass, I used to watch them every chance I got. Now finding them is almost impossible. Okay, but I am looking at a number of things from that standpoint. So I mean, when we're looking at gifting, it is simply a way of helping people feel a little special, even if it's only for a moment. Okay, and that's what we have to look at. Because if we don't start looking at it, and I figure we can't do a thing about the past. So get through Christmas in 2025 as best you can. Enjoy it for everything you can get out of it. 2026, aim for it to be a bumper year. Now I will tell you, by starting my efforts on January 2nd, okay, it's not going to save me a nickel. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to cost me more over the course of the year. But what you will find, okay, is that it doesn't put all the weight at the back end of the year. So you get it done again. Procrastination works against you. Oh, there we are. This is something I was looking at, Joe. Joe goes, I gave a gift to my dad one time at Christmas. It was a Christmas hunt. I gave him clues and he had to go all over the house to find all the clues. Him finding the clues was the gift. And this is something I'm actually incorporating. I'd already decided I was incorporating it next year, like for 2026, because I'm going into the new year with a very simple philosophy. I have literally been putting in time, and I told people I was putting in time. This year, 2026, I'm going into it. My gift to me is to make the most of every day I can and really find a way to actually live, to actually enjoy my life instead of just killing time. Now, rest assured, I'm not expecting a bumper crop of goodwill. I don't mean from you guys, but there are things I put in motion that are going to blow up in a bad way. There we go. My favorite Christmas was my mother's friend knew mom and dad were short. She bought us a big bag of curlers, hairspray, brushes, combs, face cream, the works. Happiest of my life. That's kind of along the lines of what the groceries were when my brother bought them for me. I was short. I was tight on all the way across the board. And this is what my brother got. So I'm looking at this and something I will be doing, and this isn't a question of going, oh, I think everybody should do this. Although, in all fairness, anybody that can, I encourage you to do so. I am going to be putting together a number of gift bags, and it won't be a whole lot. Probably only, if I get a dozen done, this is great because I got a lot of things I am doing. But I'm looking at getting gift bags together for some of the homeless around here. Now, I can't do a lot, but getting them some inexpensive and well-keeping food. The homeless, and somebody told me one day, I was talking to somebody and they said one thing that the homeless like or really appreciate is new socks. Okay. New socks, a hat, a toque, whatever is available. Okay. And the reason for that is you look at what they've got. Obviously, a CD is useless to somebody that doesn't either watch TV or have one. So take a look at what these people have and what their life is like when you start making decisions. Okay, I'm not even asking my kids this year for 2026 what they would like. Okay, it's just not going to happen. So from my standpoint, gifting is simply a way of reaching out to people and saying, I don't know who you are. In my case, I don't know who you are, but thank you. Now, because of the cost of postage and what have you, I will tell you, a lot of my wishes are going to go out via email to the people that have them, that have access to it. Oh, there we are. I will tell you, LA goes, I spent my babysitting money on my two youngest toddler sisters, little toys, stuffed animals. I will tell you, even adults, if you've got a parent, if you've got an adult that you don't know what to get and you think they've got everything, every adult I've ever run into gets a kick out of getting a stuffy. Now, you can go down to a secondhand store and buy them for a couple of bucks. Or if you're really talented, maybe you can make one. Okay, sorry, I ain't making stuffies. Crochet blankets, that I can do. And for 2026, I intend on making a few. But it's the importance of sharing something that you've done with other people. Okay, whether they are related to you or whether they're strangers is irrelevant. Oh, Joe goes, when I was about 6, I got up before everybody on Christmas morning. There was a screaming Mimi plastic M60 machine gun under the tree. My uncle was up and he said, hey, let's try it out. He blew out one of my mom's favorite Christmas ornaments. Oops. And then blame me. It was an eye-opener. Yeah. And there's a whole, the thing is, when we look at Christmas traditions, okay, in my house growing up, we used to have to line up youngest to oldest. Okay. As it turned out, that also worked out to be shortest to tallest. But we had to wait until everybody was in line before Dad would open the living room up and let us in. But the important factor ouch. LA goes, uh-oh. The night the reindeer died. I think there was a different song to that effect. Yeah, Joe goes, the homeless like pizza. And that's an excellent idea. And realistically, you can get small pizzas, get them hot. Okay. Because I'll tell you, especially in the middle of the winter, this is something, I mean, pizza's good, hot or cold. It really doesn't matter from that end. But it is one of these things that is very important. Okay. The more we help each other and understand there's a group of people that is really badly overlooked. That is what I know as the working poor. The people that are working, they're doing everything they can to take care of themselves. Okay. And yet they're still tight on funds. Can't picture why that is. But simply buying somebody, no matter who they are, gifting somebody with cookies, gifting somebody with a meal, okay, or groceries. This can be one of the biggest gifts you can ever give somebody. Okay. And again, I do, like this year, I will be doing it, but a Christmas card that says Merry Christmas. If you wish people Merry Christmas and the person says, I don't celebrate Christmas, go, so I do. The fact is, all you're doing is wishing people to have a good day. And again, chicken nuggets, you really want to, there's all sorts of things. Like these ideas that are being popped up in the chat room are great. Because when you said the chicken nuggets, my first thought was donut holes. Okay. And I don't mean the empty in the air holes, that are left over after donuts are made. I mean those little donut things called donut holes. Okay. They're pretty inexpensive. And again, if you don't have money, again, simply smiling at somebody and wishing them a Merry Christmas, gifting them with a hello, can be all it takes. The idea is simple. You offer them something nice, they turn around. What do we got here? Me and my nephew exchanging cannabis products. My friend gifted me an ounce and I lost it at the grocery store. Someone else had an awesome Christmas. Yeah, no doubt. I used to smoke way more cannabis than was my fair share. Rest assured, it was way more. But whatever you're gifting, make sure, because cannabis up here in Canada is legal. I don't know what it's like in the States at this point. But make sure if you're gifting somebody with cannabis that they do actually utilize it. Okay. Like for me, it's simple. I don't use it at all, but I got a buddy that relies on it. Yeah. And this, Joe Monk has gone. My dad was a fireman. He worked 24-hour shifts all year. A lot of years, Dad wasn't there for Christmas. And this is one of the reasons why when I see a fireman, a policeman, an ambulance driver, or ambulance attendant, I will thank them for what they do. Because I'll tell you, it's not just me they've helped. They help so many people and so often don't even get recognized for it. The fact of the matter is, the thing when you're looking at people that are short on funds, okay, that have had a tough year, yes, treats are great, but the simple basics are incredibly appreciated. Okay, now I will tell you, giving somebody something like in my case, I will be crocheting this year. I'm getting back into. I've just decided on that. But that said, I'm not about to make the mistake of trying to do things too far down the road. Okay, so I will be working on gifts that are handmade, and we'll cover that tomorrow. But when you gift something to somebody, and all you do it, pack it up in a bag they can't see. This is what I'm going to do in 2026. Put the gift in a bag, and as you walk by the person, make it a disposable bag. It doesn't cost much. in all fairness, you probably have them at home. Lord knows I do. Right? Put in a bag that is that you don't need back. And all I'm doing next year is putting them in a bag and walking through the mall and see somebody hand them the bag, go Merry Christmas, and walk off. You don't have to stick around and make a big deal of it. But I will tell you, when you're doing things like this, it does put a smile on these people's faces. And LA, thank you so much. We are down to the 15-minute mark. The important factor here is the more goodwill we share with people, and that's all gifting really boils down to, is sharing goodwill. Okay, the more we spread out in spite of what is happening in the world, the better this world is going to feel, at least for a short time. Okay, now I don't know about you, but I do know from my standpoint, when I give something to somebody and I get a smile out of them, or I get a thank you, even if it's a confused thank you, I look at that and go, that was worth it. And I mean, it just dawned on me. I was planning on turning around, with Christmas cards and a little bit of money for strangers. But just taking bags with me and handing them to people as I go along is just as important, and sometimes more so. Okay, so we got to look at this from the standpoint of, are you looking to spread goodwill? Are you looking to make people feel better? Or are you looking for recognition? If you're looking for recognition, then the trick is, number one, for obvious reasons, stick around long enough for them to actually register what you just did. If you're just looking to make people happy, hand them it, whatever it is, go Merry Christmas and walk off. Let them figure it out. Just know they'll be happy with it. Important thing to remember is gifting is about the idea of giving to give somebody a little bit of a boost. Okay, that's really what it boils down to. Okay, and when we look at that aspect, if everybody, think about it, if every one of you were to gift just 2 people around Christmas in the new year, okay, even if you were to do it this year, and just gift them with a simple Merry Christmas, regardless of who they are. Oh, there we go. LA goes, I like to get a bunch of used purses and put women's things in them, along with socks, gloves, and knit caps. The guys, I put socks, gloves, and chapstick in a knit cap. And again, this is just one of those things of just creating a little bit. Yeah, no doubt. LA goes, I never had anyone turn one down. And this is the thing. If we can do this, even with minimal income or no income, something very simple. Like, here's a neat little idea. Okay, and I saw this done by somebody that had no money. But what they had, and bear in mind, I'm talking about a 6-year-old-ish. They ended up getting a birthday card. And for whatever reason, I don't know who came up with the idea on their end or if they did. But what they did was they took the empty envelope, wrote a little something on it, folded it up, and handed it to somebody for Christmas. And all it said was Merry Christmas. But it was done with a used envelope and a crayon. Okay, these are simply ideas. But what you're doing with gifting is you're telling people, hey, you mean something to somebody. That may be all it takes to have somebody stop from punching their own ticket. Okay, now, I don't know if that matters to you, but I'll tell you it matters to me. Okay, and this is why I'm encouraging you to do so. Now, this year is going to be like 2026. I will keep you posted on how things are going along. But the important factor here is make certain you follow karmic law number 2 is simple. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. If you enjoy receiving a gift, you can bet your bottom dollar other people are going to enjoy it as well. Okay, this is, if you will, what I want to call an opportunity to change our world. Okay, to make this a better world for virtually everybody. At least to give people with the opportunity to see there is some good thing. There are some good things going on in here. I mean, the news is full of bad things. Okay, but let's face it, there's way more good things that happen than bad. Way more. It's just we're not told. And this year, I'm gifting you with one idea. Okay, be nice to each other. Reach out and share your own goodwill. I don't mean your own good fortune. I'm not telling you, oh, if you've got a whole pile of money, you have to give it away. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a simple gift of thank you or of hello. Hope you have a good day. This is still a way of gifting. When we're talking about putting stuff under a tree or on the table for birthdays, okay, yes, brightly colored packages make people feel better. That's just the reality of it. But here's the kicker. Okay, one of the biggest things that we have to look at regarding gifting is it's not what you get out of it. It's what the other person you're giving it to gets. Okay, that's the idea, at least in my eyes, of gifting. You're not giving somebody something in order to get something back. Okay, you're not doing it for recognition. You're doing it because you enjoy receiving it. Therefore, the odds are so are they going to, even if they don't know how to say they're enjoying it. And there are people out there that really don't get it. Okay. Oh, Joe, the sad part is some people, especially, Joe goes, I love this time of year. But yesterday I held the door open for a woman and she yelled at me. I don't get it. Well, here's the problem. We got to go back to the 60s. Okay. When the women's lib movement came out, people took it to extremes. Okay. I will tell you, 90% of people you hold the door open for will thank you for it. You happen to luck out and get the kind of person that you just close the door on. No, do not do that. That is retaliation. I saw a guy do that one day. It was kind of a twisted comical. Okay. And that's just it, Joe. Being nice to people, being polite to them is a gift unto itself. Okay. If somebody doesn't say thank you when you hold the door, ignore it. The importance is what you did. Because I'm betting dollars to donuts. You didn't exactly open the door. Okay. You didn't open the door, I'm betting, expecting them to make any big deal out of it. You were just opening the door because, well, you were there. LA goes, some people are overloaded with stupid. She was just offloading it. It takes a special kind of stupid to do some things I've seen. And I know we're not supposed to tell people they're stupid, but rest assured, most of them won't notice. Yeah, exactly. Joe, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, heck, I'm on a cane and my wife is blind. And we still hold the door open for people when we have the opportunity. That's just polite. That's all it is. Do yourself a favor and do your best when you do give something with somebody with something. Do your best not to take offense to it if they don't give a functional response. Now, where am I here? You know, one of the important things that I find is we're going into a new year here. We're approaching Christmas. Make the most of this year. Or make the most of this Christmas. And I say Christmas because, well, let's face it, that's the spot we're at. You know, one of the things that we have to realize about gifting is when you gift other people, especially if you enjoy receiving, it does give you that extra spot. You know, it gives you that extra little push. And I'll tell you, I know from practical experience that when you see a smile on somebody's face, even when they're really confused, they turn around and go, well, thank you very much. That thank you, that shocked look on occasion is an absolute bonus. Okay. You know, I could tell you all kinds of horror stories of things that people have retaliated with. I'm encouraging you to take gifting to heart. Gifting helps people feel better. Okay, and that's what we've got to focus on for 2026. Realistically, we should focus on it all the way through our lives, but I can only do it from here, from this point forward. What's happened in the past, we're pretty much hooked on. You're stuck with however you got to where you are, but we can change it now. Yo, Samo, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Could join us? Could join us. That was really good English. I speak gooder English later. But I am glad you managed to pop in. Now, that said, we're on into the 10-minute mark. Oh, down to 3. Oops. Thank you so much, Eternity. Thanks for the reminder. Now, tomorrow, we are looking at decommercializing Christmas. We're going to talk about some of the different tricks that I've learned of and or am using so that Christmas itself is more personalized and is not this store-bought thing. Okay, very important from my standpoint. On Tuesday, which will be the last day of the last show of this year, we will be discussing literally believe in yourself. But that said, I really want to thank you so much for sharing your time with us tonight. Really appreciate the participation. We will be back again tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific. Okay. And until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.